Hi everybody, this is Sharifa from the Nubian Review, where books, planning, and creative journaling and lifestyle come to life. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Um, that is not the opening that I was aiming for, but I'm going to keep playing with some openings until I land on one. So just stay tuned for that. When I find it, you will know. But anyway, welcome back to my channel. Uh, this is the New Year Review. And so normally what I do, well, initially what I've done on this channel was talked about books. And so now I'm in this transitioning from books and journaling and planning and talking about lifestyle. I got some lifestyle videos that I am actually working on and trying to execute. It's mostly, house stuff and crafting, things for the house and other lifestyle hacks. But I'm excited because I think it'd be nice to share with the community besides books and journaling. If you're interested, stay tuned for that content. But for this video, I am doing my April TBR. Now, in the past, I've done a TBR on my channel. However, I did not follow up like I was supposed to. So to hold myself accountable, I plan on giving myself incentives for following up. Um, and so, yeah, so I have a list of books that I want to read, I plan to read, and some that I'm definitely going to read. Some books that you may see in this list are an overflow of books I have been currently reading. Um, and some of them are newer selections, some of them are rereads, and some of them are just, good old fashioned, simple, fun. Now, I do have one ebook and one audiobook that I do not have with me. And so, let me try to pull up those titles. I would give you the name and the title of the books. And unfortunately, because I don't know how to, do the little sidebar where they show the books on the corner, I haven't learned that little trick yet. But once I do, I would definitely, show you guys in future videos. But let me get to the let me get to the books that I do have. One is an audio book and one is an ebook. The first is an ebook and it's called Black Picket Fences by Mary Patilio. And it is about, basically, it's about the black middle class. And so in the book, it talks about a part of, excuse me, it's my teaspoon. I have honey in my tea, my nightly drink. So it talks about the black middle class and the privileges and the peril of being black in the middle class in the United States, and the contrast between those who are those who are seen and I guess unseen in the casting system. And so, which brings me to my first book, but I'll get back to that. And so that's my ebook that I'm reading. Let me see. I haven't started reading it yet. I just downloaded it today. I did read some of this, like bits and pieces of it, but I haven't gotten into the full book. And then my next book is, oh, I need to figure out how to use my own apps. Okay. I'm sorry, you guys. The Reformatory. I need to get the author's name. It's supposed to be horror. So, let me get back to it. Yes, it is The Reformatory by, let me see if I got this, let me see if I pronounce her name right. Tatiana V. Du. I think that's the proper spelling of her name. Um, but yeah, so that's the audiobook that I'll be listening to in April. Now I did download it, um, so who knows? I think it's about 20 hours. So I always, when I have longer audiobooks, I like to break them up in timing. So I would say, okay, I'll listen to an hour this day, an hour next day, because in most cases, I do like to read multiple books at one time. I don't know why I do. I'm such a big mood reader. Um, I could be in the mood for, graphics one day, the next day, reading about love, and other day I'll be reading about health and wellness. So it just depends on how the mood hits me, and that's how I read. um, but yeah, it's good, really good reviews. Okay, it's 20 hours and I think 37 minutes. I think 20 hours and 37, but it's about 20 hours. So those are the two books that you probably won't see on the screen. But let me get into it because I'm already, like, I think 5 minutes past this video. So the books that I may or may not read for April. Now I do have them in categories, and if you want to see my categories list, what I probably do is just put it um, in the description, because I do have categories that I try to follow every month to make sure that I'm giving myself a diverse selection of reads. Now, my list is very extensive, but I do have challenges that I set up for myself every year, that, of certain books that I would like to read. So let's get into it. So I do have a middle school pick. Oh, it's sticky. But anyway, I will show it anyway. My middle school pick is Blended by Sarah M. Draper. I'm sorry. Now, hopefully you can see it. So this is something that I picked up a while ago. This was like buy one, get one half off. And so, I always like a good sale. And it seemed like it's interested. Young lady, her mom, she got remarried or married, and so she's just talking about her feelings about being in a mixed family. So this would be interesting to read. And if you have anyone young, after I give the review, let them know about it. The next book is so I have this category where I try to read about wellness in animals and nature. And so it's just one category I'll put together. I probably should separate them, but I haven't done it yet. But this book is the basic book of the cat. And so this is William H.A. Carr. This is an older book. I found this one. Actually, this one was given to me by a friend. I was at her house, and she know that at that time I had 2 tabbies, and so she went to the thrift store. She gave me this book and another cat book, but it's pretty old. Now I have read through this a tad bit here and there, but I never actually sat down and read the entire book. So I'm hoping to get into that this month. And so my next book is actually a reread. Me and my son, we read this book together several years ago, before COVID. It's funny because I always date things pre and post. But anyway, we've read this book a long time ago, and I actually read the adult version of it, and I read the middle school version of it. And so this is the book, Stamped: Racism, Anti-Racism, and You. And this one, the opening remarks is by Embre X. Kende. He's the one who wrote Stamped, the original. And this one right here is for younger readers. The author is Jason Reynolds. Jason Reynolds, excellent author. I've read several of his books and loved them all. Nothing, nothing but the best, you know. And he tells his story from a point of view of a male of you know of a black male, and so you know it's kind of relatable. It's very relatable because I'm a mom of boys. So so yeah. So this is my reread, and I don't know what is sparking me. Why it sparked me to reread it again? I just saw it sitting there. Let me see. And wrote all through the book, and it was it was such an informative and a delightful read, and straight to the point. Let me see. Another one. I like to and I annotated this one because me and my son was reading, so we both have copies of this. Anytime we do a book read together, I always give him his copy because more likely I will write notes in mine. So that leads me to, I think the reason why I pulled that book for that selection is because of this book right here. And this is my next one. Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Male by Emmanuel Ocho. And so I started reading this book. I'm going to be honest with you. This is an April read. And I had this for a while too. So in the introduction, he does the introduction. And so in every chapter, he say, let's get uncomfortable. And then, you know, he talks like, let's talk about this, you know, and be real with it. And then the second part is talk it and walk it. And so this is what he does throughout the entire book. And I like it when he talks about a subject, like, okay, the first chapter, the name game, Black and African American. What are we calling ourselves? So he talks about history. He gives a little information on history. And then so it's like it prompts you 3 times. This book is great for anyone who's young in your life, who wants to have the uncomfortable conversation about being a black male in these United States and globally. He's a Nigerian author, but I think he played sports too. I'm not sure, but from what I've read so far, I've enjoyed the book. I only read like the intro and the first chapter, but definitely I will be finishing this one up in the month of April. And this is how the author looks. So if you know him, you guys, please put something in the comments, because a lot of times, you know, there'll be a celebrity or a sports you know, a sports person. I have not a clue who this person is, and then my family, they'll say, you don't know who this person is? I'm like, I'm sorry. It's nothing personal. It didn't dawn on me. So the next one is, and this is a selected read of former President Barack Obama, is The Nickel Boys. Now, and this is a Pulitzer Prize. Author Colson Whitehead. He's also the author of The Underground Railroad, which I've read that one. Great book. And so that was the reason why I got this one a while ago. And so this book is about 2 brothers in the civil rights era, Tallahassee, I want to say segregated Tallahassee, Florida. And let's see. I don't want to give too much away. The Nickel Boys. Let me see. So right there, a moment. Oh, in reality, Nickel Academy is a grotesque chamber of horrors where the sadistic staff beats and sexually abuses the students, corrupt officials, and locals steal food and supplies, and any boy who resists is likely to disappear out back. Okay. So this has been sitting on my shelf for a while, but I thought I'd read it. Nickel Boys. All right. Let's get into it. Now, as you can see, these are relatively short reads, and so I'm very sure that it won't take me long to read them. Like one is a reread, one is already something that I've delved into a little, and one is in middle grade, I think. So those should be really quick reads. So the next one, I have A Fistful of Shells, West Africa from the Rise of the Slave Trade to the Age of the Revolutionary. Toby Green. He is also the author. Oh, the book, I forget. Let me see. Because I've known his work before this book. And normally, when an author has written a book, the previous book is like, I'm very good at remembering previous works, but okay, I can't. No, these are not the same people. Huh. Okay. I'm not gonna have this moment here on my book. My TBR. But I'll do a later video if it's warranted. A Fistful of Shells by Toby Green. And basically, like I said, it's about the West Africa from the rise of the slave trade to the age of revolutionary to age of revolution by Toby Green. So yeah, this was an interesting read. And actually, I'm pulling books off my shelf. I have not purchased any new books for this TBR. And matter of fact, I had something going for myself. In terms of incentives. And so I promised myself that I would not waste precious time and resources and money purchasing books that I probably would not read. Now, I normally buy a book that I would like to house and keep. And then down the line, if someone really wants it, I may give it away. So, but that's not that book. The next one is Do Not Disturb, a story of a political murder and an African regime gone bad by Michaela Wrong. And she got a blurb by John LeCrae. So, John Le Carre. This is sometimes when you read the subtitle, it basically tells you what the book is going to be about. A blurb from Archbishop Desmond Tutu. He is now deceased, but it's an extremely important and profoundly disturbing book. And I think those were that was the thing that caught my eye. And I did see an author chat with this author, and it was interesting. So at the time when I saw it, I thought I would get it. And so the next one is White Malice, the CIA and the covert recolonization of Africa. And this is Susan Williams. And so this should be an interesting read. Let me get, I want to make sure that my stack doesn't fall over, so let me make concession. And last but not least, no, I have a couple of more books I want to show. But I Alone Can Fix It, Donald J. Trump's Catastrophic Final Year, by Carol Loning and Philip Rucker. And she is also the author of A Very Stable Genius, which I will be reading after I read this one. She wrote the other one first, but this one right here was the one that caught my eye. And so this is what I want to read about. The author right there. So, good blurbs from everyone about that book. Now, I do have what I call, and I want to get these books out the way, my Black Books Matter reading challenge I have for myself, and I can tell you a little bit more about that. And originally, it was something that I wanted to share with my mm, my YouTube family, but I don't blame anyone. I did not follow up. And so I just started doing the Black Books Matter Challenge by myself to learn a little bit more about different areas of current affairs or any affairs that's going on in Black America. So let me start with the book that started it all, The Matter of Black Lives. I have talked about this video in other videos. If you go through my playlist, you will probably see it. Y'all have to excuse my books. My books be getting a lot of love up in this house. I mean, they just, I mean, like torturous love. If it's not me, it's the cats. If it's not cats, you know, it's just being in the house. So, editors, Jelani Cobb and David Remnick, and both of them are prolific writers. I think one of them has a Pulitzer. I think it's Jelani. And then David Remnick, he also wrote a book on former President Barack Obama. So this is what started it. Now, how I do this, every month I take a section in the book to read about, and I broke it up into several sections. And so I just want to give you a brief look. And so by the initials, I have, like, you know, June, July, August. And so I don't read it in one sitting, or I don't even try to finish this in 1 month, because this is by different writers, different, you know, different people have contributed to this book. And so a lot of it is reading, taking the readings and doing a little research on the individuals themselves, and look at and try to read and follow their either current work or past work. And so I like doing it like that, because it gives me time to understand you know, the person and their writings, and what are they most passionate about. It's broken up into, I want to say, 8 parts. Let me see. It's broken into 7 parts. And so the first part I have completed. It was called Reflections. And so Reflections, I had different books for that. I may show you a playlist of it. But Reflections, it had James Baldwin, Toni Morrison, Thomas Gladwell, who else? Jelani Cobb himself, a lot of different contributors. And so I'm right now on personal histories. And so this month, because at one point I did stop. I think I did my last read, I want to say, in September. I did my last read in September of 2023. And so I ended my summer with that, and I have not picked it up since then. And so I'm picking it up now, and I'm going to continue. And if you're interested, you know, leave something in the comment. I do plan on leaving the name of all the books that I have available. I don't know if I'm going to provide the links. I'm going to be honest with you, but we'll see. We'll see how this evolves. So, if you're interested, let me know. I'm just going by, you know, like how I'm trying to read the room. So if this is something that, you know, anybody would like to buddy read with me, please let me know. I'm all open. I'm open, not all open, but I'm open, you know, to have these conversations about, you know, important issues like race relations and equality for all, and all of that good stuff. So I'm on part 2 where it says personal histories, and so I'm going to give you a couple of the titles. It is called, The Test by Vincent Cunnington. The fault lines in New York schools. Now that should be interesting. And this is The Yellow House, which I've read the book The Yellow House by the author Sarah Bloom, and it says home before and after the flood. I wonder if that has to do anything with that. But they have some other, prolific writers too. So, not to spend any more time. So this is part of my Black Lives Matter read for April, and I'm going to start this month. I'm gonna pick it back up this month. And so this month I'll be reading Quilts, and I'll be reading Putting Myself Together, author Andrea Lee, and Putting Myself Together is Jamaica Kincaid. Yes, so that should be interesting. Let me know if you're interested in participating in a buddy read or an open discussion. Now, books that I'm going to read. So part of the challenge was to, read books that, inspire the topics that I'm talking about. And so in the Black Books Matter Challenge. And so the book that I have for that is The Have Has Never Been Told, Slavery and the Making of American Capitalism by Edward E. Baptiste. Paperback. So that means that, you know what that means? I don't have to take the jacket off. So, And so that's self-exclamatory. I'm gonna give you this one last, because that's the dual. And How the Word is Passed, A Reckoning with the History of Slavery Across America, Clinton Smith. And at the bottom, it has a blurb from Abram X. Kende. It just said in quotes, "We need this book." So this would be interesting to read and get back to you all about this one. And so last but not least, so this counts as a double, because there are 3 nonfiction series that I wanted to finish reading this year. One of them is Parting the Waters, and you'll see that in my continuance reads. But the other one is March, book 1. And I have book 2 and book 3. I don't know if I'm going to finish all of them this month, but I mean, they're quick reads. So if I'm in the mood for it, I can probably finish all 3 this month, but I'm not going to pressure myself to finish all 3 of them this month. I just want to get it started. So the second book in that series is March, book 2. So this is book 1. Get these graphics. And this is book 2. And last but not least, and this is the biggest one. This is a chunky one. This is the one I haven't read yet. So March, book 3. And so this is one of the 3 nonfiction series that I wanted to complete this summer. This year. So getting that started in quarter 2. And so actually all 3 of these books, you can probably, they have been combined together to make one big book, like a hardcover. And I think you can find it on Amazon. And they also have a version where the pictures, the graphics are actually colored. They're black and white in this one, in all 3 of them. But they do, or is it this one or is it another series? I have another series. So don't quote me on it. But I do know that they have these 3 right here in one big book if you don't want to purchase them separately. Initially, when I got this one, March, they did not have the other 2. So that's how long I've had this one. Okay, so let's get on. So let's get on to books that I am currently reading and what is on my nightstand. So currently on my nightstand, and I'm going to put this book jacket on temporarily, because last time I showed you guys this book, The book jacket wasn't on. I'm not going to put it on because I'm going to take it right back off. But I just want you guys to see the jacket. Walking on Water by Randall Kennan. And so this is a story. It's part his story and part of his travelings of oral testimonies from individuals from blacks who have migrated from the South to North and other parts of the United States. And he's such a prolific writer. Like, this is one of those hidden gems that that will probably never ever get the recognition it deserves. And so I like to celebrate any good writing. I don't care who it is. If it's good, I will celebrate you. This is with the jacket on. Look at that. This image right here, the little boy running, this is so much of the South days. Parts of the South still look like that today, but look at that. To be young and free. Yeah, so this is on my nightstand. And so hopefully I will finish this in early April. I'm not promising March, but early April. And give myself to that because I'm halfway through it. Another book that's on my nightstand, which I am loving. Well, every book that's on my nightstand, I am definitely loving. But I had to put the book jacket on for this one too. Caste, The Origins of Our Discontent. And so, oh my goodness, this is such a good read. I don't know why, I did started this a while ago, and then for some reason I stopped. I think I got into something else. Like, my attention span for certain things, because I'm such a mood reader, so if I find something else that's that draws my attention, I tend to forget about other things that I'm reading. And with the best intentions to go back and read it, but I never do. So, Caste, this is on my nightstand. Yeah, this is good. Now, also, Ava DuVernay, she did an adaptation of Caste, and so that was the reason it sparked me to to finish the book off, right? And so I felt like I read the book, but I didn't read the book. And I'm being honest with you. The first time, it wasn't a read, it was like the audiobook. And so I listened to the audiobook. But when you're listening to nonfiction, I don't know if you're like this, but I'm like this. When I listen to nonfiction on an audiobook, I really have to pay attention. I really do, because because I'm not looking at the words, it has a different impact. And so this time I'm not doing the audiobook. I'm just sitting down reading it. And so whatever hits me when I go to bed, that's what I'm picking up to read. And so actually it will be her tonight, because I've been reading her all day when I get a chance to sit down in little increments. So hopefully I will finish her this month. Caste, The Origins of Our Discontent. So that's on my bedstand. Another book I have fallen completely. You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I'm loving everything I'm reading. And it's just, I've never had a moment like this. Okay, I haven't DNF'd anything so far. Black AF History, The Unwhitewashed Story of America by Michael Harriot. And so this book is, if you're a kid of the I would say the 60s, 70s, and 80s, I'm sorry, 90 babies. I mean, nothing against you. But there was a point, there was a time when, when you just had the adult's ear. Like, good music, good conversation, eavesdropping on the adults as they're talking, you think you're experiencing life vicariously through them, but it's nothing like your own experience. But there was a part in this book. Let me see. And I want to read it. And so this, I will read this. It's not giving it away, but it was such a good part. And I had to write about it. Let me see. And I normally don't like reading out loud, but let's see. Let's see. I have underlined so many things in this book. It talks about joy. And so I will read this short part. Have you ever heard that's the way of the world? If you are black, the answer is yes. If you have ever been to a cookout, the answer is yes. If you have an aunt who owns a leather miniskirt or a leopard print blouse, the answer is yes. If you ever smelled incense burning in a room with a ceiling fan, the answer is yes. To this day, every time I hear it, I remember what joy sounds like, what love tastes like, what home feels like, and all of a sudden, I'm a kid again, standing on my uncle's porch, listening to my aunts tell stories through the screen door, while my Uncle Junior explained the way of the world. Now, if you're an Earth, Wind, and Fire fan, and I probably should have went back a little further, but I am such an Earth, Wind, and Fire fan. So, when he broke down that analogy of like joy, I felt that. Like, that was joy. Because I have so many moments and memories like that as a child. Being around my aunts, my dad, my mom, family, friends, cousins. So yeah, that that kind of pulled at my heartstrings. And so he just and I'm taking my time reading this because I know when I'm done, I'm done. Like, I don't want to, I'm savoring every moment. And he has parts in here, which is so funny. After every chapter, he kind of quizzes you. But the quiz is straight sarcasm. But you know what? I can't give anything else away. You just have to read this. Black AF History. I would think this is this book is not intimidating. So I would say for anyone who wants to learn facts about history and they're able to look at it and say, you know what, he's right. I remember that. Or if that's true, let me, very factual, very, I don't know, he's a great storyteller. So the way of the world. I really have to look at some more his work, but this is pretty good. I think that's his first book. Also, a book that has shocked me. Now, I'm reading this for a challenge on YouTube, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know the challenge name, but when I get it, when I remember it, I will post it in my link. It's, I don't even want to try to pull it up, but every quarter, you have to read a history or a book that's about a certain era. So this is ancient history, and my choice was Assyria, the Rising and Fall of the World's First Empire by Eckhart Farm. And so I opened this book. Wow. I was thinking, what took me so long? What took me so long? And I love history, and I love ancient history, and it just comes a point in time, like, I think when we were on lockdown, I was inundated with so much hatred and vitriol on television about race-related issues. I was just done with it. I'm like, give me a love story. So sometimes we have to take ourselves out of certain scenes in order to, reboot and go back. So this book right here, part of my ancient history collection, which I'm constantly trying to grow. So if you have any titles that you think I'll be interested, please put them in the comments. So yes, this is a great read. This is a great read. Yeah. And a lot of the stuff he talks about is so relevant for today. Mm. So let me get to the last book that's on my nightstand. So yeah, this is on my nightstand also. The last book on my nightstand is Call Her Miss Ross. Randy Tarbaloni, and Diana Ross. So at the time of this video, Diana Ross' birthday was on the 26th. So this is a day later. She turned 80 years old. And so that is such a milestone and a blessing at the same time. I had to celebrate her in some way. She has an autobiography. This was not written by her. This is an unauthorized. So basically, he just did the research and composed the book. However, it's turning out to be pretty good. It's about the earlier part of her life when she was young, and when she went at the Supremes. They got their start. So I'm thinking she was a child, but they were talking about mostly her high school years and the beginning stages. So I'm in the middle of the book, and I have not picked it up for a couple of days, so I do need to pick it up and get back into it, the meat and bones. Yes, so that's what's on my nightstand, my books to read, my selections. Now, books that I am just like perusing through, and I'm really not reading it, but they're ever present, is this book right here. I'm trying to get into, not to say I don't eat healthy, but I try to eat the healthiest that I can eat. I'm trying. I think I eat relatively healthy than I have in past times. My awareness is more heightened now as I get older, and so I try to be more conscious of what I'm eating, what time I'm eating. Like, I don't eat fried food if I'm going to eat fried food after a certain time of the day. Some people, they eliminate it out of their diets altogether, but I think sometimes that's how we crash and we have those cravings, because we have restricted too much away from our diets. We don't know how to enjoy it. We don't know how to enjoy it in small increments. So certain things I wouldn't eat at a certain time of the day. Like, I would never have fried chicken 12 o'clock at night. That part of my life is over. Okay? It's just over. So, yes. So I'm reading this book. And the recipes. Good recipes. And I think it's like roasted cauliflower with tomato sauce and feta. Now, I'm doing like vegan alternatives, and there is a vegan feta. Tomatoes, it agrees with me sometimes, but sometimes it just don't. That's just one of those things that I had to somewhat eliminate out of my life. And it talks about the history of the paleo diet. I mean, this is just a gem of like little things here and there. And it talks about the human evolution of the diet. And so I found this gem at my local Dollar Tree. I always go through the book section and see, what's available. They talk about vegan food. I mean, it's just a gem. Let me put this back by the recipe that I plan on cooking. And if I make anything from this book, I would definitely make sure to mention it and probably take pictures of it, or just take you along with me, so you can see the recipe. But yes, a gem. I don't know where you are in the country, but if you have one of those discount stores like we have here in the U.S., throughout the U.S., I encourage you, to go and check and see if they have any books. A lot of times, like bookstores, they'll get an overflow, or they're getting rid of books that are practically new, like less than a year old. And so they will, give them to the discount stores. And you can find it for $1 or $2, and it's a win-win for everybody. All books are I'm not like, no, let me stop. All books are not good books, but if you find a gem, keep it. Now, books that I am continuously reading. One is a reread, and two of them are just a slow read. This is a reread, but it's definitely not at the top of my list. But I do plan on finishing this by the middle of April, because I do want to do a quick book discussion on the Civil Rights Movement and Martin Luther King's part in it. And it's called Parting the Waters in the King years, 1954 to 1963. Taylor Branch. So this is my continuous read. And then book that I'm currently reading, and this is part of my slow read, Jimmy Carter in Africa, the Race and the Cold War, and Civil Rights by Nancy Mitchell. This is actually pretty good. It's a slow read. I'm actually annotating this one as well. Now, this chunky monkey, because I just promised myself. Did you all see that? Oh my goodness. Okay, you guys, I don't know what's going on with my camera. Okay, there we go. I'm going to turn it back this way. And honestly, I'm not even going to edit that footage. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. Okay, so let's finish, because I feel like I'm getting sleepy and I'm knocking everything over. Last but not least, in this TBR, which is a long TBR, The World, A Family History of Humanity. I am currently listening to this one on audiobook, and I'm also reading it. I don't know if I like the audiobook, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think it's definitely read by different people, but I don't know if it's read by the people who contribute to the book. And I don't know, it's not grabbing me as I thought it would. I think I'm getting more enlightenment after just reading the book. So this is one of my slow reads. Simon Sebag Montefiore, and he's also the author of Jerusalem, which is also a really good book. So yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all we have. And I wanted to get this done in 20 minutes, but I knew I wasn't going to get this done in 20 minutes. But I do want to thank you for stopping by, and hopefully, you'll come back and see me review some of these books. I may read some of them. I may read none of them. I may read all of them in April, but who knows? So the only way you'll find out is if you come back and see. So with that in mind, I want to say thank you for stopping by my channel, and hopefully I will see you next time. Bye bye.